Hi, everyone. As many of you know, for the last 32 days, I've been interviewing some amazing, inspiring women, women that I know and love, and that I felt like might have something to say to you. I knew they had something to say to me. And I will tell you up front that I got the most benefit out of doing this. I was the one who got the biggest benefit because I got to talk to people that I love about things that we don't always talk about. So I wanted to really come together and explain why I did it really quickly and then give you some themes that came up. So I love International Women's Day and have been asked to speak and lead events and do all these things these last several years. And this year, as the day was coming and I'm running my own coaching business, I was like, what do I want to do? And I had an idea, but it was an overwhelming idea. So I'll just be straight with you. I chickened out. I was like, I can't pull it together. I don't think I'll be able to do this. It's too much. I need help. And I was being coached by another coach, and she was like, well, do it differently. Do it a way that you can do it that doesn't overwhelm you. And so what came up for me was, oh, I could just interview 30 women that I admire and just post it every day, which is what I did. We had so much to talk about. And so I want to talk a little bit about the themes that came up. These women came from all walks of life. I've known some of them my whole life, like my sister. I've known some of them a couple months, like one of the coaches I interviewed. They live all over the world. I have seen some of them never in person, and some of them I see on a regular basis and or have video chats with on a regular basis or see in person. They are from all over the world and they live all over the world. And here are some of the themes that came up. Number one, we need to stop behaving as though there is a scarcity of opportunity for women. We need to believe that there is an abundance. We need to make opportunities for one another. We need to demand opportunities from the people who make opportunity. We need to stop competing with one another in such a harsh way. We are like elbowing and shoulder checking and doing everything because we believe there's one spot. We need to stop doing that. We need to learn how to be on each other's side, to lift each other, to elevate one another, and to do this thing where we lift while we rise. When I am given opportunity, I'm going to make opportunity for you. I'm going to, as the gap behind me opens up, I'm going to make space for you, and I'm going to be there. So we have to first start believing that it's not scarce, right? So that's number one. Number two, we need to talk about important things with each other. We need to have conversations with each other about important things. For instance, we need to talk about money. We need to have conversations as women about money and negotiation and signing contracts and what it means. And we need to be open to having those conversations with each other because we don't talk about it as much as men do, and we don't have the network they have. So we need to be willing to discuss it. We need to talk about when we have faced imposter syndrome, fear, uncertainty, doubt. We need to tell each other. Because what happens is that we have these personas of powerful women with confidence, but we built that shit across time, and people looking at us are like, oh, she just woke up like that. Nope, didn't happen. So talk about the times when you have felt like an imposter, when you have woken up and been like, I am not good enough for that. Talk about that with each other. Have those conversations so that we stop believing we're the only one. We need to talk about the patriarchal structures we find ourselves in. So often the structure is broken and it's not fair and it's unjust. And we sort of go, am I the only one who sees that? No, you're probably not. And if you have even a modicum of power, raise your hand and say something. Say, well, this doesn't seem fair. This doesn't look like, I don't think a man will be treated in the same way. This structure seems imbalanced. We need to talk about the structures that we're part of that don't feel right. You will hear, oh, that's not what this is about. You're overreacting. You will hear all the things when you do that. Doesn't matter. Say it anyway. And then one of the biggest themes that came up in these conversations is we need to talk about our bodies. Women's bodies exist on a spectrum of sexualization and shame. We are either sexual beings or should be ashamed of our bodies. And we're done. We're done with all of that. We need to start talking about the birth experience in a much more reasonable way. We need to talk about what leads up to pregnancy, what it's like to be a teenage girl in those bodies and social media. We need to talk about what happens after a baby is born. with more honesty and transparency. We need to talk about periods in a way that we are not ashamed, that we don't shrink back because men are uncomfortable because they got mamas and they got wives and they want to have sex, and women with those bodies, many of us have periods. So let's talk about periods more openly. We need to be talking about perimenopause and menopause and postmenopause because that is some crazy shit and we don't talk about it. And we need to be discussing it. There is no shame in being in a young body, a young body, a middle-aged body, or an old body. You are going to spend, if you are lucky and have a female body, you are going to spend a third of your life in a perimenopausal or a postmenopausal body. So why are we not talking about it? And then we need to discuss mental health. We need to be willing to talk about mental health. What do you need? What kind of therapy are you attending? What kind of counseling do you need? And who are you talking to? We need to talk about mental health. We need to be willing to talk about it in a way that does not create shame. There's no shame. I mean, I will say it. I have spent tens of thousands of dollars on therapy over the last 30 years. I think I started going to therapy in my late 20s. And I go every week. It is the best appointment on my calendar because it keeps me safe and sane, and it keeps all of you safe and sane who are around me. So we need to talk about it. So that's saying something is the second thing. The third thing is what really came up in these conversations is the importance of finding your community. Who are your people? On that note, one of the things that came up a lot was building real friendships and being willing to fight for them. What does it look like to stay connected? It is easier to stay connected now than it ever was. What does it look like to fight for your real friendships and not just give up on them and say, oh, well, too bad. They moved an hour away or whatever. Fight for your real friendships. Create a board of advisors. Who is in your inner circle that gets an opinion on your life and your choices and can speak up when they see you going down the crazy train? Who are your board of advisors? Who are your people? Mine are, I think I have 6. One of them is a man. One of them is my sister, and the rest are girlfriends who have earned a spot to speak up and say, what are you doing? Or that's exciting, right? They are my biggest fans and also will tell me the truth. Create your board of advisors because everyone does not get to weigh in on your life. Stop allowing that. Celebrate and elevate your culture, your lifestyle, your differences, your voices, your choices. Celebrate them. Celebrate who you are, and then turn around and celebrate the others around you. Celebrate where you're from. Celebrate where you are now. Celebrate what you have used to do and what you do now, where you've come from and where you are today. Celebrate it and elevate others who need to celebrate that, because the more voices we have celebrating, the more it will become normal. We're normalizing things. Find allies among men and look for women to admire. I will say it again. I would not have been successful in my career had I not had some men who would stand behind me and push me forward. So find some allies among men. They are out there. They want to help. Sometimes they don't even know what to do to help, but they want to help. Find a champion, find an ally, find someone who will be in your corner and have your back, who has some power and some recognition because their voice is male, probably male, white, and 45. But find some men who want to be your ally, and look for women who you can admire. We get a little hung up in the space of, I don't want to work for women. It's so hard to work for women. I would rather work for a man. I'm better at being friends with men. Great. Awesome. Find some women to admire. They are out there and they want to help. So look for them. Look for the women who you would like to work for. Look for the women you would like to partner with. Look for the women you would like to ask questions of. Look for them. Talk to them. Find them. And then be someone else's mirror. Be the person who makes the space safe. Be the person who creates the community. Be the person who says, can I help? To younger women and to women who are more marginalized than you. Make space. Make safe space. And be someone else's mirror. Some of the skills that we decided, this is number 4, some of the skills we decided that you need in the course of these 32 conversations in order to be okay in the world are, you need to learn to listen. You're never going to be too good a listener. So keep learning how to be a better and better and better listener. Be willing and acquire the skill of asking for help. So many of the women I talked to were like, oh, I wish I would have asked for help sooner. I wish I would have said, I don't know. Ask for help. Learn to think strategically. We get real tactical as women. We're very like multitasking, doing all the things, and we're very tactical. We do what's happening today and sometimes don't look forward. Learn to think strategically about your career, about your money, about your family, about your life, about your passion. Be strategic. If you don't know how, come talk to me. Think strategically. Get in the habit of having a strong work ethic, but not a hustle. We're all done with the hustle. We are not monkeys on a string having coins thrown to us. Stop dancing for approval. Get a strong work ethic and work towards something you give a shit about, and stop hustling. One of the ones that really came up that I thought was really amazing and I wanted to say, acquire the skill of financial literacy as soon as you can, as young as you can, but as soon as you can, if you're not young anymore. In order to have the opportunity and the privilege and the space to walk away from shit you don't want to do, to move away from toxic bosses, to try things that you are really excited about, you need to have some financial literacy. You need to know what it's going to take to buy yourself that freedom. And that's often what it is, buying yourself that freedom. We live in a world where white men give white men money. And so therefore, what will you do to find people who will fund your dreams, or how will you fund your dreams? Financial literacy. Acquire the skill of letting go is one of my favorites. Acquire the skill of letting go. Learn to let go of shit that doesn't serve you. Walk away. Walk away, walk away, walk away. Save yourself. Learn to let go of things that don't serve you. Bosses who treat you like crap don't deserve you. Men and women and partners who treat you like crap don't deserve you. All of that history that you're carrying around and stewing over and regretting, learn the skill of letting go. It's time. Make the apologies where you must and let go. Now, one of the biggest skills that came up over and over and over again that I think is a value, a skill, an innate part of us, but also can be learned, is curiosity. Be curious, ask more questions, want to learn more, be interested in what's going on in the world around you, in the life around you, in the things that you're passionate about. Acquire some curiosity. And when you acquire it, be courageous in going after it. And remember, I'll say it again, courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is stepping out, taking the risk, doing the thing, even when you're terrified. So be courageous about the things you're curious about. And then be okay with being wrong and not knowing things. The freedom I acquired when I learned to say, oh, I don't know. I don't know anything about that. Or, yeah, I did that wrong. Or, yeah, I messed that up. I'm super sorry, but I messed that up. I had thought it would work like this and it worked like that. Didn't know. There's a lot we don't know. You don't have to know everything. And be okay with being wrong. Be okay with not knowing. Be okay with saying, yeah, I don't know. And if you need to find out, go find out. Ask some more questions. Back to curiosity we go. And then finally on the skills, I'll say this, and you shouldn't have to acquire this skill, but I'm going to remind us anyway. Learn to laugh a lot. Your little group of people, make sure they're funny. Make sure that they laugh with you, that you all have some good times. It is meant to be fun. We are supposed to be having fun, as Marilyn said. This is supposed to be fun. Have some fun. Laugh as much as you can, because man, we're not getting out alive, right? That's the cliche. Like, have some fun. Hang out with people that are fun and do stuff that's fun as often as possible. Laugh, laugh, laugh. Lots of laughs. And then some things that we were hopeful about. There's two more things. There were some things that people along the way, the women that I interviewed, I asked them, what are you hopeful about? And these are some of the things that came up. We are hopeful that women are speaking loudly and using our voices and following on and attaching ourselves to the momentum of our foremothers. Out in the world have been women who have fought so that we could have the life we have today. And as hard as things seem, we need to catch their momentum and keep talking, keep speaking, keep fighting, keep fighting so that we can own property and vote and be responsible for the children that we bear, have ownership of the bodies we embody. We need to really catch the momentum of those foremothers and honor it by speaking up. And the women I talk to are hopeful about that is happening. We are really hopeful about younger people. It came up over and over and over again, how hopeful we are about the younger generation, about how they are audacious and authentic and bold, and that they are not given any shits and not given any fucks. Like, they are willing to say what they need, and we are hopeful about what they will bring as they take more and more space and more leadership spots. This one I loved. We were very hopeful. Several of the conversations this came out. We are hopeful about the permission that our authenticity as women gives to men. We are hopeful that as we bring 100% of ourselves and are ourselves, and we don't try to pretend we're men or have these skills that we don't even care about, that as we are authentically ourselves, individually and authentically ourselves, men will get to be so as well. That is the point of equality and feminism, that we all get it. And that when we are 100% ourselves, men can show up in the ways that they want to show up, that they will have permission to show up the way that they would like to show up, that they don't feel that they can. They will get to speak on the things that they don't normally think that they get to. We are hopeful about more inclusive spaces, in public spaces, in private spaces, and online, that make more space for anyone to join. We're excited about the fact that those spaces take people from the margins and push us all together closer and say, hey, you're welcome here. We are excited about the potential behind untapped data and products. So let me say something about that. So much of the data out there around the things we buy, products we build, and the way that we handle healthcare is tuned to 45-year-old white men. So that means there is so much potential for products that care about women, that gather women's data and hone in and innovate in spaces outside of that really narrow window that has been the focus for so long. So we are excited about the untapped potential of that data and of what products are coming when we tap that data. And we are excited, and I'll say this came up in the very first conversation that I had with Sabrina on day one on March 8th, August. We are excited and hopeful about organizations that care. We are excited about organizations that hold their values no matter what legal decision has been made, no matter what the market is doing, that do not decide to bend their culture and change their values to suit their investors and what's happening, but that will hold that line even when they're making very difficult financial decisions. We are done with bro culture, with shitty founders, and with VCs who just keep giving the same money to the same damn people. We're done. And so what we are for and what we are hopeful about is organizations that give a shit and who will hold the line on their principles and values rather than shifting and changing. That's what we're hopeful about. And finally, the very last question I asked of each video was, what advice would you give to your younger self? And so if you don't do anything but go back and watch the last 5 to 6 minutes of every video, you'll capture some real nuggets of genius. So I don't have them all, but I've tried to encapsulate them. So first of all, you are not for everyone. Stop trying to be. You don't need to make everyone happy. You can't anyway. So stop trying to be all things to all people. You are not a pizza or a donut or a piece of pie, whatever you want to say. You are not for everyone, so stop trying to be for everyone. Stop listening to everyone else's voice. Listen to your inner voice and your intuition. That is data. It is basically saying, based on all the knowledge I have and all of the experience I have, I think you should listen to me. And your inner voice and your intuition is calling to you. Listen to it. Start listening to it today. You, if no one has told you today, are intrinsically valuable. If you are breathing, we need you. If you are here, we need you, and you are worthy to be here. And if you wake up one day and aren't sure about that, you call one of the sisters. You call an auntie, a grandma, a mentor, a woman in power, a woman with no power, and ask her, you are worthy to be here. You are intrinsically valuable. You have the right to be here. And in that space, learn to trust yourself. Learn to really trust that you know what you're doing and that you know more about yourself than anyone else. So learn to trust yourself. Learn that you are worthy of having boundaries and asking other people to abide by them. You draw the fence line and say, stay on that side of the fence. And don't move the boundary just because somebody wants you to. They're your boundaries and you have the right to them. And you have the right to ask other people to adhere to the boundaries you set. You need to, maybe your grandma for a moment, you need to take care of yourself. You need to take care of your physical body, your mental body, and your spiritual health. You need to take care of all of those aspects. You need to remember to get some sleep, to get some sunshine, to drink some water, to go for a walk. Like you need to take care of your physical, mental, and spiritual health. It is housing all of the things that you're doing to change the world, that we are doing together to change the world. On a side note attached to that, wear clothes that feel good. Stop wearing shit that doesn't feel good, that itches or is too tight or feels uncomfortable, that you're miserable in. Find clothes that are beautiful and feel good on your body, right? In doing so, it was step one of being your own friend. Be your own best friend in every part of your life. Remember that you are the best friend you can have. Treat yourself as good as you would treat someone who you love dearly, because you need to be your own best friend. And as I said before, you are absolutely not alone. You are not alone. You are not alone. You are not alone. That came up in so many of these conversations. If you feel alone, go watch some of these videos, because these women have had some experiences and they have done some things, and you are not alone. We have all struggled. We have all been there. And then I'll say this as a closing statement. The world doesn't need any more nice girls. We're good. We were trained to be nice. We were brought up in a culture that said we had to be nice, that we needed to say we're sorry we bump into people, and we need to take up less space, and we need to, it's enough. The world doesn't need more nice girls. What the world needs is inspiring women, innovating women, creative women, artists that are women. It needs more women who give a shit. It needs more women that are kind and generous and helpful and lift people up and elevate others. It needs more of that. Nice? No thanks. We're done. We're done with being nice. We're going to go get shit done, and we're going to do it with all the inspiration that we can bring. Thank you. Thanks for letting me summarize this for you. I hope it was helpful for you to hear. And feel free to go watch those videos. At the end of the year, I will do this all again with men, and I'm so excited about it. And if you know someone who would be a great candidate for being interviewed by me, man or woman, I'd be happy to interview them, because I'm going to keep interviewing people here and there along the way. And then in November, for International Men's Day, we'll make it a month, and we'll talk to 32 men. Thank you so much for listening and for watching these amazing inspirational videos. As I said before, I got way more out of it than anybody else. So for me, it was a joy and a pleasure. And to the ladies who let me interview you, all 32 of you, thank you.